Good morning, everyone. Welcome to TeloYouth Wednesday morning educational webinar. Today we have Dr. Chris and Dr. Tina on the line. They have a combined 60 years of experience as naturopathic practitioners. They are internationally renowned educators and speakers. And most importantly, they are the formulators of our incredible products, Surround Youth Serum and TeloYouth. Good morning, Dr. Tina, Dr. Chris.
Good morning, MJ. Good morning, everyone out there in listening land and viewing land.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, MJ. And today is very exciting. We're going to be talking about stem cell technology. Now, we're not going to be talking about what does it mean or what all the different kinds of stem cell therapies that are out there, but we're going to show you why we're the Rejuvenation company and why TeloYouth has such a strong presence and will have a stronger presence in the stem cell technology world. So what are stem cells? First of all, they're the cellular putty which all tissues of the body are made. And ever since human embryonic stem cells were first grown in the lab, researchers have dreamed of using stem cells to repair damaged tissue or create new organs. Why is this? Because stem cells have the ability for self-renewal. They also act as an internal repair system of the body. And we're going to show you a brief overview of the history, the ups and downs that the scientific community has experienced over the last 60 years. And we've had some setbacks with stem cell. And then we've had some really great things unfold for us in this whole arena. And you're going to see that what we're about to share will help you become even more excited and really aware and why you and your loved ones need to be taking TeloYouth for rejuvenation.
So true, Dr. Tina. I mean, a stem cell essentially is a blank cell. It's capable of becoming another type of cell. This is what we call differentiation. You know, it can turn into a skin cell, a muscle cell, a nerve cell. But I like the analogy and the metaphor, it's likened to a computer hard drive because it has all this potential to differentiate and bring out information, but it's really useless without the application. A computer hard drive needs its applications. And what we've learned over the years is that it's the signal molecules that are really the applications for getting things to change and evolve in the body. And it's not just the stem cells, it's the signal molecules that activate those stem cells. And signal molecules they're generally thought of as proteins. They bind to receptor sites on the surface of the cell. This is how they communicate and talk. But now we've learned too that there's an energy component as well to the signaling because of how the mitochondria are involved. And these are all things that we're just gonna run through and give you a little background here. So, a lot of companies out there say they have stem cell ingredients in their products, but really they're just using it as a sexy marketing term. Their claims really are nothing more than just a false claim. So we want to help you understand a little bit more so you can sift through what's real and what's not. Okay, this next slide. It started back in 1961, two cancer researchers, they confirmed the discovery of stem cells. We had an idea that they existed in the body, but no one really isolated them and understood. So let's walk through a little bit of the history, and this will help us understand how things have evolved. It's interesting too that cancer researchers discovered the stem cells because, the cancer cell is similar in its ability to replicate, but a stem cell isn't out of control like a cancer cell is. So each have their own unique environment. When we say environment, this is like the pH, the tissue pH. different types of signaling that goes on, and very different energy requirement. And this is how we can differentiate a cancer cell from a stem cell. Next slide. Here we're seeing in 1984, this was a tremendous breakthrough. Nobel Prize was given for this breakthrough that Stanley Cohen and Rita Leva Montalcini both uncovered, that one of these signals was an epidermal growth factor, and this is what's used by the skin to activate the stem cells. And this early breakthrough would have a profound impact on our development of the Surion serum. So you see how the history of this technology is really rooted into our technology that we introduced. So this was about 35 years ago, and then we came up with the Surion serum. But it's important to understand, growth factors are one of many types of signals the body uses to communicate. We've referred to these calls neurotransmitters from the central nervous system, hormones from the endocrine system, cytokines from the immune system. Now we're learning about the mitochondria and the exosomes and the stem cell system. And so there's thousands of signals that the science and the researchers in medicine is trying to replicate. But here's the beauty of TeloYouth, and this is what you can share with everyone, is that TeloYouth enhances or supports each one of these areas because we work with the body, and it's the body that can do these thousands of signals that go on, and trying to isolate each one of them is just Herculean task, and just somewhat impossible right now. And so why you're seeing that you're really ahead of the game to get people on TeloYouth to support their communication and their signaling system. Dr. Tina, anything before the next slide here?
No, let's hit politics.
Yeah. Well, there was a bit of a snag in the US with stem cell research. So between 90 and 99, you're looking at 9 years where everything pretty much was shut down. And the reason for that is that the research started with the human embryonic stem cell, and it became very controversial in the 90s. And our political leaders at the time greatly limited and practically shut down stem cell research in the US. But it continued on overseas. And, this is where you'll see that the first stem cell clinics all started outside of the United States. So we're still kind of catching up with the rest of the world, but definitely our researchers are on top of it. And then in 98, this is when stem cells go human. That was huge. The potential for cloning took a major step forward with this discovery in 1998. And so do you all remember in 1997, there was this big news flash of Dolly the sheep. This is the first animal that was cloned. And it put a little bit of a fear in the scientific community, but at the same time also gave us great hope in our ability to regenerate tissue, and started the rejuvenation technology at a really advanced stage. Okay, and now we're getting closer to 2020. In 2012, a Nobel Prize was awarded for discovering the dynamics of a stem cell by being pluripotent, meaning it could turn into all different types of cells. And this opened the door to, really directing and harvesting stem cells for their ability to differentiate into different forms of tissue. So now we can start to really see how we can use stem cells to make tissue and organs and different body parts, the ligaments and tendons. Very, very powerful discovery that was recognized in 2012. And then and historically, we'll go to 2016, and this is where President Obama just signs the 21st Century Cures Act into law. And this really helped the United States move forward in the technology, because before this, it was Japan and China and Russia, the Eastern European countries, and even Mexico, that they had these incredible clinics and research that was going on. So this law put the U.S. scientists back into the game, and regenerative medicine and rejuvenation technology really took off. So you know, wherever the money and the resources start to pile in, then things go forward, and we're competing with the rest of the world. Okay.
What such a great point. So for all of you to understand, in 2016 and prior, there were many stem cell therapy clinics around the world, and they're very, very advanced. And even Dr. Chris and I, you know, early in 2012, we were looking at bringing clients to these other clinics to help them rejuvenate with stem cell therapies. And we're going to talk about them. They're very expensive. There are side effects to them. And it was at least giving them people hope that they could turn around some pretty major things in their bodies. So it wasn't as though there was no stem cell therapies that were out there. It's just the United States had fallen behind. So when President Obama signed this act, it was exciting to see that there was the ability within clinics within the U.S. to be able to do clinical trials. And so it really started to advance the ability and the understanding and the knowledge in this area for all of us to have, you know, access to these kinds of therapies. So let's
Dr.
talk a
Tina,
little.
before you jump in, I really want to emphasize to everyone, we saw what stem cells can do early on, and we were going to be, you know, just part of the tourist industry for medical tourism to go overseas. And our history was in 2013, 14, we discovered the how to use the fertilized tissue extract in order to not even have to go overseas. So this is where we're at. So
Right.
thanks for that.
Yeah, and we'll help circle around when we get to the ingredients to help you understand even more. So the not so good news, and we look at the mesenchymal stem cells, the stem cells that are the adult stem cells in our bodies. When we're young, they are prolific. There's 1 in every 10,000 cell in a newborn baby is a mesenchymal stem cell. And then when we move to the age of 80, look at how it rapidly declines. 1 in 2 million is a stem cell. And we begin to lose that capacity to produce those cells as we get more stress and as we age. And the not so good news is that, you know, the self-renewal of the stem cells, they decline with age and they expire, you know, when we have extreme stress. But as we look at what we have access to today and the ability to rejuvenate, there have been some really great scientific studies that we can all get excited about here. And some of the things that we know, Dr. Chris, did you have anything to add before I jump into the next one?
No, that's great. Go for it.
Some of the things that we know is that when we have low energy, our rejuvenation factors decline as well. We need to have those cellular engines, those mitochondria, and working and functioning because they help our stem cell activation. So there are other products out there on the market that they focus on anti-aging. And we take it to another level with TeloYouth. Our focus is rejuvenation. And that means we reactivate those stem cells. And when you look at the percent of decline here on the left by the age of 25 to the age of 70, you can see there's a correlation when our mitochondria, our energy batteries begin to decline, our stem cell activity or activation declines as well. So we know that there is this correlation between the two of them. And everything is energy. If there's no energy, we're dead. And everything requires energy. It's a better way to look at it. So what do we do with TeloYouth? We rebuild our mitochondria. We recreate the energy. We create more healthier cells to go through this whole stem cell process. And when you look over on the right, stress is a major factor, because when we see that energy starts to change, then we see that we have this decrease of our mitochondrial potential, but we also end up having these excess stressors. And that's when we move into this accelerated aging. So we age faster when we lose the ability to make this energy, and stress plays a major factor. And how do we measure stress? By cortisol. And our fertilized tissue extract has the ability, clinically proven, to shown that we can reduce our stress in the body by measuring cortisols. And so when we bring the stress down in the body, our body then can take that energy and begin to rebuild itself, and then begin activating our stem cells for that renewal and repair. And when you really grasp this concept, you can see that we have rejuvenation in a bottle. Dr. Chris, do you have anything to add?
I do. I just wanted to emphasize that this isn't something that takes control of the body as much as it supports the body, so that, you know, as the stress increases and gets out of balance, then the TeloYouth has the ability to reduce that stress. So this is why you can understand there's no set formula as far as how much to take. It's really a time where if there's more stress in your life, reach for your TeloYouth bottle, because it'll help bring that stress down. This is why the clinical studies were done on athletes put through extreme stress. So you can see they had a greater reduction because they had a greater stress level. And so it's all relative to your lifestyle. And this will help, this study really helped us explain and help everyone understand, you know, you got a little bit more stress today, take a little more TeloYouth. If you got a little less stress, well, then you can kind of just take your maintenance amount. So
Exactly.
it's a good way to understand how to incorporate.
And thank you. And stress is relative.
Yes.
When I'll tell you what, if I'll give you some examples here. If my car even has like low, I get a message that says that there's low air in the tires, my cortisols go through the roof, because it is not something I like to deal with. But if I'm doing a live presentation, I'm fine. My cortisols don't go up. Most people, their cortisols are going to go up. And so you can take extra TeloYouth to help mitigate. So everything is relative. And that goes back to the comment of why everyone needs their own amount of TeloYouth. It's specific to the individual and the stressors that you're exposed to and the journey that you've been on. So let's talk about why TeloYouth is so amazing. This is like stem cell support in a bottle. And when you look at the left, the example here is we have a cell that needs repair. And it's sending signals, it needs repair, and yet we need to have something that helps really, connect with that signal. So if you look over to the right, the first part of this process really is our stem cell production. We have to be making stem cells, and that, remember, declines when we get older. So we have to have healthy bones. The healthier our bones are to make our stem cells in our large bones, the more we'll produce. And our marine collagen, our super glue, builds those healthy bones. It does other things, but today we're going to focus on it builds those healthy bones. And then what can happen is they can be released into the bloodstream that can be released out of the bone marrow and circulate throughout the body. And what does this is 3 of our ingredients: the aloe vera gel extract, which we call our super healer, the chaga mushroom, which is our super protector, and the rhodiola rosea, which is our super relaxer. All 3 of those ingredients synergistically help release stem cells into the bloodstream. Now, there are a lot of products out there that do this. However, when we look at the next part of this phase, and that is activating those stem cells, that's key. As we age, this activation is what major league declines. We have 2 ingredients that help activate these stem cells: our fertilized tissue extract, which is our super rejuvenator and supercharger, and our L-arginine, our super builder. Here's an example. Working with the egg producers in Norway, they were taking the fertilized tissue extract. Couldn't have any kind of a great result with back pain. As soon as we incorporated the synergy of all of these ingredients, they started to repair and renew. The pain, the inflammation started to go back out of the, started to calm in the back. So when you look at all of these pieces, you can't just have one. You need to have the ability to not only produce the stem cells, but you have to release them and you have to activate them throughout the body. Then it goes to the cell in need of repair, whether it's pain, whether it's inflammation, whether it's an injury, whether it's something in the heart or the brain or in the arm. That cell then has the ability to go through the entire cycle, the entire process. And this is what TeloYouth does, is supports stem cell therapy in a bottle in a much less expensive way. Dr. Chris, do you have anything to add?
No, that was great. No, thank you. Here we just have a chart to, again, kind of explain you're getting this incredible stem cell therapy in a bottle. And how does it compare? Well, first of all, stem cell injections are still being explored. It's still an experimental technology. And it's only approved in this country as a research basis only. It's not something you can go to your doctor and say, okay, I want some stem cell injections. They have to put you as part of a study to do that in order to receive those injections. And when you do, it's very costly, anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000, because you just can't just one shot and it's over. Where you're working with a TeloYouth stem cell program, you can get, dramatic results systemically, and instead of just getting an injection into a joint or localized into part of the body. When you take TeloYouth, you're supporting your stem cell system and your immune system and all these signaling systems that facilitate the rejuvenation. So we really are the rejuvenation company, because we support the rejuvenation of the whole body and all the systems, and it works right down to the cellular level. And all our molecules are extracted from nature, where what you're getting as far as an injectable, it can be stem cells from your own body, but there's a chemical filtration that goes on. There's a process that can inhibit the effectiveness of this. So there's some questionable dynamics. So oftentimes, one of the things that doctors have to prepare for is the possibility of infection. It's also a seasonal and conditional therapy, because you'll find that you get greater results during a certain time of the year versus other times of the year, because of your body dynamics and what it does in different locations of the world. And so far beyond the side effects of the cost, there's other dynamics where you're taking something with TeloYouth These are concentrated therapeutic foods that have been around for hundreds of years. They have a proven track record, not just for their efficacy, but also for their safety. So, we feel very comfortable recommending TeloYouth for children. So it's helpful for all of us. And right now, there's no systemic access with stem cell injections. And the reason for that is that once if stem cells are injected into the bloodstream, they don't necessarily get to the part of the body you want them to go because they get stopped or filtered in the lungs. It's almost like it's a blockage point. So as they get captured in the lungs, it's great for the lungs, but the rest of the body that needs that therapy, where when you orally take TeloYouth, it's designed to pass through all the body's barriers, and you're really working the body head to toe there. So these are just some of the things we wanted to point out so you understand. And just to kind of repeat the progressive dynamics of the stem cell injections and the program. On this next slide, you're going to see that we first discovered these adult stem cells, remember, back in the 60s, and then we realized that the second phase of stem cell technology evolved to signal molecules and discovering the importance of those signal molecules. So this is all being tried to be replicated in the laboratory. But when we discovered how nature can provide the same benefit in the body, and the safety of just taking things like the aloe vera to stimulate the release and the understanding of how to activate the release of those stem cells, as we talked about. This is why TeloYouth is just so far ahead of the game with what we're trying to do in medicine and what we have available for a nutritional support system that helps you in your daily processes. So, Dr. Tina, anything you want to wrap up with here on our story?
Yes, thank you. So if you could look at this as, being able to take this product and seeing all of the different results that happen, hopefully you can understand now that when you take something so powerful as TeloYouth, you don't get to direct your body on where it goes. However, your body has these priorities, and the body is so amazing because we have these backup systems that take over when something is wrong with another system or out of balance with another system. So we have this ability to do this naturally. Then you introduce TeloYouth, and your backup systems might end up getting the attention that it needs before the pain and inflammation is going to go away in your knee. Or you might get better sleep before some of the other things actually come back to balance within your body. So there's no real way for you to know what's going to happen. Minimally, we tell you, do the program, take the formula for at least 6 months before you go into a maintenance program. And it all depends on where you're at. And for those of us that are, over 50 and some over 60 and some over 70, here's the deal. You can reverse a lot of the damage and the stressors that you've made on your body, your emotions, your health and well-being through time, and reverse that, because your body has that ability for self-renewal and rejuvenation. And that's what you have with your TeloYouth. And with that, we need to add the disclaimer.
Yes. Well, of course, we've always loved sharing this information. It's for educational purposes only. Even though we're doctors, we're not here to give you any type of medical advice. We're here to help educate, help you understand how the body works. So you want to be sure to work with your health practitioner if you have any health issues. And we just appreciate you joining us on these educational calls.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.